The Timberwolves president of basketball operations shut down Karl-Anthony Towns trade rumors. He says Cat is, quote, as untouchable as they come. Why did he even have to come out and say that? Because rumors are Towns is not happy. His face says he's not happy. One report said teams including the Warriors are monitoring Karl-Anthony Towns. Multiple NBA execs say he's unhappy, and when there's smoke, there could be fire. In this video, we'll talk about what the T-Wolves would be able to get back in a trade for Karl-Anthony Towns, but since he's untouchable, we'll break down how the T-Wolves can build around Cat to reach his potential. Hey guys, it's Casey Kiernan, host of the AM Hoops YouTube channel. Hit subscribe. We're coming out with fresh, quality NBA videos Monday through Friday at 6 Eastern. Follow me on Instagram at AM Hoops. And if you really want to support the channel and you like this t-shirt, we've got some for sale below. First, let's look at exactly what Timberwolves president of basketball operations, Gerson Rosas, said. He said, quote, Karl-Anthony Towns is as untouchable as they come. He's the best player on our team, and he's the guy we're building around. Everything we do is to help him become the best player and help us become the best team we can be. He's a special talent that we're gonna do anything possible to help him achieve his highest potential. And this makes sense because if Karl-Anthony Towns is so unhappy he demands a trade request, like we've seen so many times in smaller markets with big stars, when's the next Karl-Anthony Towns coming around for Minnesota? Maybe not for like 30 years, so build around him while you can. And by the way, whether he is happy or not, it doesn't matter. Towns just signed a 5-year, $158 million max deal. Cat has virtually no leverage here. Besides, let's say he did demand a trade. They could just sit him and wait for a gigantic offer, similar to what the Pelicans did with Anthony Davis. But the difference with AD is he was late on in his contract. Do you think Towns really wants to waste part of his prime sitting on the bench like that? But all this talk anyway, and the bottom line of all this trade talks is winning. They need to start winning. Before the season, Cat warned everyone to keep sleeping on his team. Well, Cat did back it up early on. He won Player of the Week in Week 1. Minnesota was 10-8. Then everything fell apart. Towns was injured mid-December. He missed 15 games. They've gone 5-21 since that start. If the Timberwolves miss the playoffs again, that'll make one postseason appearance the last 16 years. And that one appearance was memorable. They got in on the final day, beating the Nuggets 2 years ago, which was fun. But the next year was the Tom Thibodeau, Jimmy Butler experience. That was not fun for Minnesota. And by the way, Towns has a lot of the blame here for why they're losing. I know he was out 15 games with that knee injury, but since he's been back, it's not like they're killing teams. Now on offense, he is really good. This is a pretty cool stat. Towns joined Shaq, Hakeem Olajuwon, Tim Duncan, and David Robinson as the only players in history with 7,000 plus points, 4,000 plus boards, and 500 plus blocks through their first 350 NBA games. Again, that's great. That's why the dude's an all-star and he earned that max contract. But the defense is awful at times from Karl-Anthony Towns. And the team will be limited as long as Cat struggles like he does on defense. So, without an established culture or winning, what if Minnesota did want to trade Karl-Anthony Towns if he is disgruntled and start over? Well, here's a couple of trade scenarios I think would be interesting. First, the Suns. Minnesota gets DeAndre Ayton and 2 first-round picks, plus Tyler Johnson, whose big contract is coming off the books this summer. All these trade scenarios you see out there for the Suns include DeAndre Ayton and at least 1 first-round pick. The reason is because Minnesota has to get something back of value in return. DeAndre Ayton is that, although he's not a big upgrade defensively. And for the Suns, this would give them maybe the best young duo in the West. Devin Booker is just 23 years old, Cat is just 24. The Timberwolves also reboot with the Suns' 2 first-round picks, but my favorite trade scenario, Joel Embiid straight up for Karl-Anthony Towns. Let's just hope they don't cross paths at the airport after the trade. Look, it's a fresh start for Cat in Philly. This solves their spacing issue too. Right now, Ben Simmons lives in the paint, refuses to shoot threes. Cat having the best three-point shooting season of his career. For Minnesota, they get one of the top 5 players in the league when healthy and an improved locker room presence if Towns is as miserable as he looks. But again, he's probably not going to be traded, as fun as those are to think about. So let's talk about ways that the T-Wolves can build around Karl-Anthony Towns to maximize his potential. I mean, Towns shot down the rumors he wants to be traded anyway. He said, quote, "I'm here to be a Minnesota Timberwolf. Very fortunate I have a head coach like Ryan Saunders, a president and friend like Gerson Rosas. I'm not worried about all that nonsense. Whatever we have to deal with in-house, we'll deal with in-house. But this ain't the circus like it used to be." And that's a really nice statement. I'm sure Minnesota fans are relieved to hear their superstar say that. Not that it means anything.
You guys will have me back. I plan on resigning here next year.
They say things all the time.
I mean, well, at the end of the day, I'm gonna do what I feel is best for my career.
But let's assume that Cat really is here to be a Timberwolf. How do they build around him? The big target, it's no secret, is D'Angelo Russell. Minnesota has been pursuing D'Lo for a while now. Russell and Karl-Anthony Towns are close friends. D'Lo would be a shooter and a playmaker at point guard, which they haven't had. This summer, the Warriors swooped in and got D'Lo, but the Wolves reportedly are trying again right now. They traded Jeff Teague and Travion Graham to Atlanta for Allen Crabbe. This opened up a spot for Russell. A potential D'Lo to Minnesota trade could look like this: D'Angelo Russell for Robert Covington, Jarrett Culver, Jake Layman, Noah Vonleh, and a 2020 first-round pick. That is a haul to get back for the Warriors, and before you leave that nasty comment, T-Wolf fans, just know that the Warriors have said they need to be blown away with some offer to give up D'Lo. I think that that package could blow them away. Here's why. The Warriors get Rocco in their starting lineup. He's a 3-and-D wing who will complement Steph and Clay when they return. Jarrett Culver will provide backcourt depth for years to come in Golden State. Jake Layman and Noah Vonleh have to be in this deal because in the NBA, salaries have to basically match, and those two made the trade go through. You just can't make up whoever you want to be in a trade. It doesn't work like that. Do I think this is going to happen? No, because as I said earlier, the Warriors have said they prefer to hang on to D'Lo until the summer because A, we don't really know what D'Lo looks like with a healthy Steph and Clay, and B, it's smart for them to wait until the summer. Then the Warriors will know how good of a pick they are getting. Maybe they win the lottery. Can you imagine what D'Lo plus the first overall pick would get in return? The good news for Timberwolf fans, though, is that getting D'Angelo Russell is not the only way to build around Karl-Anthony Towns. Gerson Rosas runs the Timberwolves, but he came from the Rockets, and he recently told The Athletic, quote, "To me, you're gonna get a lot of no's before you get the yes." And he was with the Rockets and Daryl Morey when they got the yes from OKC and they traded for James Harden. Rosas has seen up close what it looks like to hunt for and land a superstar in a trade. D'Angelo Russell is not the only guy on their wish list. The Rockets, by the way, got lucky with James Harden. They happened to be willing to trade when OKC was willing to offload the beard. The Thunder didn't know he'd become maybe the best scorer ever. They didn't know they were breaking up a big three made up of all MVPs either. Houston was out there, the right place and the right time, and they've been relevant for years. And that is the attitude that the T-Wolves now have. Think of them as the Houston Rockets North. That is how their front office seems to be wanting to operate. They know that in Minnesota and Houston, big name free agents like LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Paul George aren't gonna just choose them. They have to trade for them. Forget future draft picks. It's all about right now. And that's especially the case in Minnesota with Karl-Anthony Towns. So here's a list of superstars I think the Timberwolves should monitor the next few years. All these guys are in questionable situations and could need a change of scenery at some point. Number 1, Devin Booker. he can score and handle the ball. He's friends with Towns. Number 2, Zach LaVine. He can also score and handle the ball, but not on that same star level as Booker, so Minnesota might have to give up less to get him. Number 3, De'Aaron Fox. Obvious, also super talented, can score and handle the ball. And number 4, Ben Simmons. Remember that scenario that had Towns going to Philly? Well, what about bringing one of the best pieces on Philly over to Minnesota? And this one is really fun to think about. We've seen how good the Sixers can be when either Ben or Embiid is out. So let's say Philly wants to stick with Embiid and ship out Simmons. It could make sense. The issue in Philly is spacing. Embiid is the best center in the game, but he can't play much in the paint because that's where Simmons scores. Cat is the best three-point shooting center in the game, and he would be a much better fit with Ben Simmons. So reports say that Karl-Anthony Towns is disgruntled. He says he's okay, he's here to be a Timberwolf. Whatever the truth is, things are not great in Minnesota right now. No one can argue that. But if the T-Wolves play their cards right, they can either build around their superstar, maximize his potential, or trade him and get back one of the biggest hauls the NBA has ever seen.
Support AM Hoops and click subscribe. Don't miss a weekly NBA video.